Los chicos y los jóvenes de hoy disfrutan de algunas ventajas sobre los jóvenes del pasado. Pero quienes fuimos jóvenes en el pasado, tenemos frente a ellos un hándicap. Tuvimos una adolescencia cinematográfica que ellos no podrán tener. Y es el cine de los cowboys, los western. Para esta noche, la BBC de Londres y Ámbito Financiero les han preparado una biografía, una reseña del personaje quizá más simbólico de la historia del western. Un duro, John Wayne. John Wayne, que viene a ser el compañero, el continuador de Tom Mix, de Roy Rogers, de Alan Ladd, de infinidad, del propio Ronald Reagan, por ejemplo. Infinidad de protagonistas, de figuras que encandilaban a los jóvenes, que íbamos al cine de barrio y veíamos 3 películas, generalmente las 3 iguales, casi siempre con los mismos personajes y con la misma historia. Pero había muchos tiros, había muchas chicas secuestradas y siempre ganaba al final. Casi siempre John Wayne. El programa de esta noche de John Wayne no solo va a relatar las aventuras y las peripecias de John Wayne por ese mundo de Hollywood, sino también la clase de persona que era este singular actor, que hizo aproximadamente 160 films. Porque era un conservador, pero no le gustaba el campo, ni le gustaba la granja, ni le gustaban los caballos. Era un pobre hombre que vendía diarios y ahí, vendiendo diarios, se ganó el seudónimo de Duke. Por eso lo llamaban el Duque. Un conservador que no fue a la guerra, a pesar de ser el máximo representante del belicismo norteamericano, de haber protagonizado, dirigido y perdido plata en una producción que se llamó Los Boinas Verdes. Un conservador que denunció amigos, compañeros, en la época negra de McCarthy, donde se perseguía a cuanta persona había que estaba militando en el Partido Comunista o tenía simpatías de izquierda. Vamos entonces a introducirnos en la historia de este peculiar actor de Hollywood que ha marcado la cinematografía del siglo pasado y que aún hoy bate récords frente a actores tan notables como Tom Cruise o Clint Eastwood. Una epopeya del cine, una historia viviente, enterrado en castellano con el epitafio feo, fuerte y formal, que él mismo se autodesignó.
That's far enough.
What's this all about?
Just that I hate your guts. Get up. You doped off and got one of my men killed, and one of them bayoneted. You haven't had enough. Get on your feet.
My name is Private Reader, and I'm from Nashville, Tennessee. When I watch a John Wayne movie, I get a sense of what it's like to be an American.
Private Kearney, Alamo, California. I love this movie. I've seen this movie about 10 times already. And one day I decided, oh, why not join the Marines?
Private Preston, Oceanside, California. John Wayne is an inspiration beyond belief. I've grown up my whole life on him, and just an example of the Sands of Iwo Jima is mind-boggling.
My name is Private Robert. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. I think that John Wayne is an American hero and that he presents and lives the values and the ideals of the Corps, and that he represents them very finely in this movie. It's about honor, courage, and commitment.
He stood for something. He was a very strong man. But when you look back at his life, you see nothing but contradiction. It's an old argument in this country, the one about the right way of doing things, the should-bes, the shoulds, you know, and it never works out that way, because when you look at their own lives, they leave a lot to be desired. There's a lot of gaps in their own lives about the truth. In John Wayne's life, his service to his country, the illusion that he created in his life versus the truth.
If you were watching him and you're a man, you wanted to be like a man like John Wayne. If you were a woman, you would like to have a lover like John Wayne. If you were a young girl, you would like to have a father like John Wayne. A young boy, the same thing, because he represented everything wonderful and special that there is in the world that we can possibly ask for.
He was not a cowboy, he was not a Westerner, he was not somebody who liked the outdoors even. He was not somebody who had planned a career other than law. And the whole legend was created, in effect, out of nothing. But once this amazing symbolic force was generated in film after film, Wayne, in effect, sacrificed to it, tried to live up to it, tried to be that.
How do you like the red buttonholes?
John Wayne murió hace 18 años, pero aún se le reconoce como el actor norteamericano favorito, más popular que Mel Gibson, Tom Cruise y aún Clint Eastwood. A Wayne le tomó 20 años convertirse en estrella, pero se vio a sí mismo como el símbolo de algo más grande, de Norteamérica. Fue una misión patriota que le ganó la adulación de millones, pero también la burla y el desprecio. El duque actuó en cientos de papeles distintos, pero quiso que como John Wayne se le recordara solo en uno. John Wayne nació en 1907 en Iowa, en pleno medio oeste norteamericano. Su autocrática madre nunca lo quiso en realidad y le dio el nombre que él siempre odió, Marion Morrison. Su padre mudó a la familia al oeste cuando él tenía 10 años, a una granja de cultivo propio en el desierto de California.
His mother favored his younger brother very much over my father. And then she named him Marion, which is very much of a feminine name. So in growing up, I think he didn't have the love or attention that he could have gotten from his mother. Then on the other hand, he had to deal with his name and people made fun of him. So I think he had an insecurity in his early years. That's where it started.
His mother almost always seemed to resent him in some way. His father loved him dearly, and John Wayne was pulled back and forth. The family fights, night after night.
Marion Morrison nunca quiso ser actor, y menos vaquero. Odiaba la vida de la granja y detestaba los caballos. Su ambición era ser abogado, pero esto se derrumbó cuando perdió la beca de deporte en la universidad. A pesar de ser atleta nato, no podía correr con suficiente rapidez. En 1927, el joven Morrison se mudó a Hollywood hambriento de trabajo para poder salir de la miseria.
He went to work in the studio, Fox studio, as a property person. Didn't really get noticed until he was 22 years old, and Raoul Walsh saw this big, strong kid moving things around gracefully and easily, and quite astonishingly said he would put him in this great epic Western he was about to make, an untried 22-year-old actor, just because of the way he looked.
Most of us have an image of John Wayne in our minds, and it's an image from later in his career. And he looks so young and so boyish and so vulnerable.
What do you mean? Oh, I thought it was this way, man. I thought you were someone else.
Marion Morrison doesn't sound like a leading man's name. He's starring as a cowboy hero in The Big Trail. The director of the film had to come up with a name. Somebody had said a Revolutionary War hero, Anthony Wayne. That didn't sound quite right. Tony Wayne, not exactly right. John Wayne, he's got a new name. He wasn't even present at the meeting. John Wayne got a name without being there.
You take Honey Girl from here on down, Dave. A little easier going.
Come on, Rick.
Now, Miss Ruth, you cling on to me.
This movie, unfortunately, flopped. And so, after this first appearance as a cowboy, with a brand new name, which was given him by Raoul Walsh, John Wayne for Marion Morrison, wearing buckskins and having his hair long, he was out of work again. and nowhere to go except to use this cowboy experience in a series of B pictures.
Keep going, Clara, no matter what happens.
Without the B-movie genre, John Wayne has no career. In many ways, to draw a modern-day equivalent, it's television. John Wayne would make films in 5 or 6 days, 3 days, if necessary. It wasn't unusual to work 16 or 18 hours a day.
We're all under arrest.
They were looking for big, strong, rugged men who would work for almost nothing, who would work in deplorable conditions, who could do what they wanted them to do. And John Wayne was a worker.
Grease up your guns, outlaw, and cinch 'em on tight. There'll be blood a-running in town before night. There'll be guns a-blazing and singing.
Why, that's Singing Sandy.
Tonight you'll be
Who?
drinking your
The most
drinks
notorious gunman since Billy the Kid.
the dead.
Make it fast, Slippery. This is your last draw.
But he'd make 12 movies a year.
You'll never handle guns again, Morgan.
You have to remember, people are growing up and they're seeing him in their movie theaters almost every month. He becomes another member of the household.
Wayne se perdió en el mar de películas B por casi una década.
No llegue a esto. En internet, ámbitoweb.com. Porque hay maestras que cantan.
Hay otra Emilia en la casa y se te parece.
Y hay maestras del canto. Teresa Parodi, el repertorio.
En la cabeza las voces de mis amigos que me decían, canta algo conocido. Porque así, primero, después canta tus canciones. Y la de mis hijos, canta tus canciones, mamá. Canta tus canciones.
Los personajes de sus canciones.
En realidad mis canciones están llenas de personas que he conocido.
Este domingo a las 22, con Ana Cacopardo, por Canal 7 Argentina, Historias de Vidas.
Historias sobre mi pueblo que nunca oí.
No baje la guardia. La aftosa, enfermedad no transmisible al hombre, puede ser transportada por personas, animales y vehículos. SENASA recuerda que es obligatoria la desinfección del transporte de ganado en lavaderos autorizados. Circule con el certificado correspondiente. Ante la menor duda, llame sin cargo al 0800-999 aftosa. No baje la guardia.
Para enterarte de todo lo que pasa con el espectáculo, de lunes a viernes, La Linterna TV, los protagonistas, sus proyectos, la crítica. De lunes a viernes a las 19, Laura Ufal te guía con La Linterna TV, con la colaboración de Pablo Zunino, por Canal 7 Argentina. Estás en Canal 7 y no sos el único. Nos estamos viendo.
La historia del mundo. 42 fascículos con más de 300 páginas con la mejor ilustración. Desde los orígenes hasta nuestros días. La más actualizada obra con un real enfoque de los acontecimientos del mundo. Todos los lunes y miércoles desde el 2 de julio con Ámbito Financiero. Resérvela. Su vida personal se hacía también más complicada. A los 26 años se casó con Josephine Saenz, hija de una acaudalada familia hispana. Tuvieron 4 hijos, pero a él le disgustaba su devoción católica. Ella solo lo besaba, se quejaba él, si el sacerdote lo permitía. Wayne pasaba más y más tiempo en el yate del director de cine John Ford. Ford lo había divisado en 1927 trabajando en los estudios Fox. Brillante e insensible, se convertiría en el gran patrón de Wayne. Fue Ford quien rescató a Wayne de la rutina de las películas B. En 1938, por un salario de solo $3,000, le dio a Wayne el papel de Ringo Kid, en lo que sería el clásico del cine, La Diligencia.
Oh, steady, ho, ho. Hey, look, it's Ringo.
That was an enormously powerful entrance for an actor. Wayne's presence, though he was pretty green, was unmistakable.
Well, it looks like you've got another passenger.
I saw the film as a kid, and I was just going to the movies, along with, what was it, 44 million Americans every week. And that one film established Wayne as an actor, as a star.
En La Diligencia, el mundo le dio el primer vistazo al héroe que Wayne haría suyo. Confiable y taciturno, protector de los inocentes en un mundo lleno de amenazas.
When the Indian attack occurs, Wayne, who's the prisoner inside, is freed and given a gun and climbs up on top. The rest are down there under his protection. So this combination of the free spirit and yet the guardian spirit for the community is put together in Ford films with a great artistic control that he had been developing long before he knew Wayne, and Wayne was the perfect carrier.
In many ways, John Ford became John Wayne's father, I think. John Ford became John Wayne's role model. And John Wayne was John Ford's best son.
He loved Mexico, and he loved his tequila. And the Duke drank, boy, he drank like a fish. And I can hold my liquor, but I couldn't hold it along with the Duke. And he loved to go out with this particular English actor and tie one on. And they were out, I think, on a couple of weeks drunk when our country, the U.S., entered the Second World War. They couldn't get a hold of the Duke. Nobody could find him. He was drunk somewhere down in Mexico.
La guerra hizo que Wayne afrontara una grave decisión, pelear y arriesgar su nueva fama adquirida o quedarse en casa y hacer películas.
So the war came along, and Wayne had served 9 years of apprenticeship in these B movies, and he was just beginning to move up into the A's because of Stagecoach in 1939, and he didn't want to leave because he figured, I've waited all this time for my chance. If I go, I won't get it again. He was telling John Ford, I got one more movie to do, and then I'm going in. And he was making all these excuses in the letter. They're really kind of comic, that I have the letter, I have the papers to fill out, but I'm on location, I don't have a typewriter. You know, they're not going to accept John Wayne if he prints in his name. It's clear he just didn't want to go. He didn't want to give that up.
Remember, most of the leading men, some of the biggest names, were gone from Hollywood during the war. Clark Gable was gone. Henry Fonda was gone. Tyrone Power was gone. John Wayne steps into a vacuum. During the war years, I think 15 John Wayne films were released during that period of time. He becomes one of the leading stars.
Then John Wayne announces the actresses nominated for the Best Performance Award, which
A Wayne le preocupaba mucho no prestar servicio. Su mentor, John Ford, almirante durante la guerra, lo atormentaría por esta decisión toda la vida.
when he acted as a serviceman, as an American military hero, without a war record, that bothered him.
Night and day.
People assumed that he was a hero.
Think of you, all you mighty men who serve the red, white, and blue.
When he was touring the Pacific, he was drinking with some servicemen, and at least one of them took umbrage to the fact that he hadn't served and made some pointed remarks that ended up in a fist fight.
No matter where you are, we think of you.
United States Marine Corps gun!
What makes this movie so special from the rest? First, the title, Iwo Jima. The second factor that makes this movie so special is its star, John Wayne. John Wayne is an American icon. The quintessential good guy.
Por fortuna para Wayne, las películas en las que actuó daban la impresión de que él había ganado la Guerra del Pacífico en solitario. Su famosísimo papel de guerrero gung ho se exhibe cada año a los cadetes de la Marina como parte de su entrenamiento en San Diego. Para 1949, Wayne era la mayor estrella de Hollywood y reinició una prolífica relación de trabajo con John Ford. No solo estaba en la cúspide de su capacidad de actuación, sino que rápidamente se convertía en un símbolo de la confianza norteamericana de la posguerra. El mismo Wayne creía más y más que tenía un papel a desempeñar en el destino de su país.
What he learned from Ford was essentially the myth of America, that America is a separate nation. It's got a special mission from God. It's not like other nations. And again, Wayne summed that up, that he was not like other people, and when he led a cavalry troop, it was not like other cavalry troops. It was almost guaranteed to prevail.
Wayne was a student of Wayne. In other words, no one studied Wayne like Wayne did. So he learned to move with that wonderful grace, because he told me when he saw himself on the screen in those early films, he couldn't stand to watch himself. He said, I looked clumsy and I thudded along, you know, I was heavy-footed. And he taught himself that grace and that poise.
He was an extraordinarily graceful man, physically. There's a memorable scene in Red River where he's walking to a confrontation with his son, and he's pushing his way through a herd of cattle, and John Ireland is trying to have a confrontation with him, a gunfight.
You know that young man isn't going to use his gun, don't you?
Yeah. But I haven't any such notion. Mr. Dunson. Mr. Dunson, I'll say it just one more time.
He whirls and draws and fires and turns around and keeps going. It's an entirely fluid motion. I don't know another actor that could do that. Baryshnikov, but he wouldn't be too plausible in the part. But it was a dancer's skill, a dancer's grace.
There was a wonderful, very practiced walk. He had it down, and there was a way of squinting, a way of taking a position in a room. His body language spoke reams of dialogue without having to say it. The way he cocked his eye. He had his mannerisms down, in the same way that Cary Grant had his mannerisms down in the more sophisticated way. And I think Wayne's evoke in America